Welcome everybody to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today, I want to start off by talking about the shooting of Duante Wright in Minnesota and how the officer has now been charged. Now, I made a video yesterday talking about how I don't like the way the laws are set up, that police have certain levels of immunity from bad actions, let's say. But it is nice to see that she is going to face charges. However, I do want to say something to the other side of the story here. A lot of people are like, good, she deserves to go to jail. She deserves to spend the rest of her life in prison. I've even had people say in comments on my video that she deserves the death penalty. Well, I want to say that's ridiculous. Now, I'm someone who has a lot of problems with modern day policing. The way they've become basically a private army serving only those in power and not the people. But because the institution is bad, doesn't mean every individual is bad. They're part of a corrupt system, but they themselves aren't necessarily monsters. And in this case, she's not a monster. She made a mistake. A mistake that cost someone their lives, and she should pay for that, but there are circumstances involved here. She made a mistake during a stressful and tense situation that was caused in part by the person who got shot. They were resisting, they were trying to flee, and she didn't just go to her gun to execute a fleeing suspect like is often the case. She made a mistake. Now, should she pay for that mistake? Yes. But is she a monster that needs the death penalty or even should spend any measurable time in prison? I don't think so. Because, like I said, there were circumstances. I mean, you could look at this person and say, she doesn't look like a monster to me. And here's a big thing. This is something that separates her from Derek Chauvin, or whatever his name is, Chauvin, however, I've never been able to pronounce his name right. And I'm not doing it on purpose. I just don't know, so I'm not being disrespectful. But he's on trial right now. One of the things that struck me the most about him is, even after George Floyd was dead, due to most likely his behavior towards George Floyd, he showed no remorse. He was cold and indifferent after it happened. This lady, from the second she fired her gun, this officer, you could tell she was like, oh my God, I just made a horrible mistake. You know, her voice, her mannerisms, what she said afterwards showed immediate regret. It makes me believe, yes, she did make a mistake. It's obvious watching the video. She didn't do that on purpose. And there is a little bit to be thought of, or something to think about, that she probably wouldn't have made that mistake if Duante Wright hadn't have been in the process of trying to flee police officers. So she didn't make a conscious decision to execute someone just because they were not complying, like sometimes is the case. She decided to tase someone and then made a mistake. And the only reason she got to the point where she had to tase them is because of their own actions. Remember I made that video about how not to get shot by police? If he would have followed the stuff I said in that video, he wouldn't have been shot by police. He'd still be alive today. So I just wanted to make a video today to say, yes, she should face the consequences for her actions. She made a mistake that cost someone their life. But it was a mistake. It wasn't willful destruction of another person. It wasn't willful murder of another person. It was a mistake. It wasn't even a mistake like drunk driving. Because drunk driving, when you go out to drink and know you're going to drive home, you're willfully taking the risk with someone else's life. It's not even that bad of a mistake. It's a mistake. You picked up the wrong thing, did the wrong thing. It'd be like if a nurse gave someone the wrong medication in a hospital and then found out about it later and was devastated. You wouldn't think that person is a monster and needs to be put in prison or executed. So you shouldn't do that just because they wear a badge. Like I say, police are people. They should be held to the same standard as ordinary people, non-officers, but they should also be given the same considerations as everyday people because people make mistakes. She made a big mistake under duress, which was from a situation that she didn't cause, she was just involved in. And that happens. It happens. We have to accept that. But like I said, she should pay for her mistake. Doesn't make her a monster. She did show remorse. That made me feel sorry for her right away. When I saw the tape, I was like, oh my God, I feel sorry for this lady. Of course, I feel bad for the person who was murdered or killed. Let's say killed, not murdered, because they didn't deserve to die, but that was the consequences of their actions. They chose to fight police and flee, or at least attempt to flee. So, I mean, she didn't pull her gun and go like, well, he's getting in the car, he's obviously getting a weapon, I'm going to shoot him. She didn't make one of those bad decisions. She gave him the benefit of the doubt that he's just trying to get away. And then she made a mistake. But her mistake was like the fifth mistake in line here. And she still needs to pay for it, but you have to remember she's a person. She makes mistakes. She should be held accountable, but she shouldn't be treated like she's somehow not worth the benefit of the doubt simply because she wears a badge, whereas people who don't wear the badge are somehow worth the benefit of the doubt, even if they have warrants and felony convictions, etc. I still say in any given situation, they should be given the benefit of the doubt. Same thing for this officer. If you give her the benefit of the doubt, she was a good officer who has served for quite a while, who made a mistake. And it wasn't the first mistake made that day. It was the most important and the most noticeable mistake. But it was in a long line of mistakes made by other people. And like I said, that deserves some consideration. All right, everybody, I want to move on now to my favorite part of the show. And you know what that is? It is gun talk. And today I want to answer an email from a viewer who asked me, hey, I want to buy my spouse a firearm. How do I go about buying a gun for them that would be perfect for them? I want to buy it without them knowing about it, so I want to be a surprise. So what would be the best gun for someone who's, 5'9" and weighs 135 pounds, etc.? Well, I want to answer that question by saying there's no way I can answer that question. And here's something I want to tell people. You shouldn't be picking guns for your spouse, your grandmother, whatever. You should let them decide. You should take them out, let them have experience with different firearms, let them decide what's best for them. But when I said that, he was like, well, but I want it to be a surprise. That's kind of not a surprise. Well, a gift certificate to a gun shop is a surprise. And I think that's an awesome thing to do. If someone came to me today and says, guess what? Here's a gift certificate for a new gun. Let's go to the gun shop and pick you out something. I'd be ecstatic because not only did I get the surprise of a gift, but now I get to go shopping for a firearm. So that's awesome. So I always suggest gift certificates. But if you're someone that doesn't like gift certificates, or maybe your spouse doesn't like going shopping for things, I don't know what the reason would be, but you actually want to present them with an actual firearm, here's what I suggest you do. Take them out to a rental range. Let them shoot multiple things that you can rent. A lot of rental ranges will say nowadays where if you pay a certain amount of money, you get to try a certain amount of guns. Go do that. And then whatever gun your spouse says, this is the one I like tonight. If we come back, I want to rent this one again. Say, cool, we'll remember that. And then buy them one. That's a great way to surprise them with a gun that you already know they like. The point of this is don't underestimate the value of gift certificates because I think they're fun. And don't make decisions for other people. No two people are the same. I know tiny little women who prefer a .357 Magnum snub nose, and I know grown men who prefer a .380. So don't make the decision for them. Let them make the decision one way or the other. Either get them a gift certificate or take them out and find out what they actually like and then surprise them with a gun. All right, everybody, I want to end the show today, as usual, with our viewer EDC of the day. And today we have Miguel T. And as you can see, he's carrying his Glock 19, which is a special edition Glock because of that gray frame there. And he's got a little light on there, an O light, because apparently he watches YouTube. And he's carrying it in a Works M6 holster. Now, this is a very basic, nice setup. It's what I think a lot of people probably carry. It's very practical. It's very simple. It's very effective if you ever have to use it. No one can argue the effectiveness of a Glock 19. So I really approve, as usual, of what he's carrying, how he's carrying it, etc. But I am going to have to make comments on this picture here because there are elements of this picture that make me feel kind of nervous here. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you're one of those racist, everything's race, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not it. It's not anything to do with race. It's got to do with circumstance here, things, choices that have been made. That makes me think that something's not right here. Because if you look at this picture, I get a little nervous. I don't know how you could look at it and not get nervous. Because there's an element to this that makes me kind of wonder if everything's okay here. And of course, what I'm talking about is that fucking monkey in the picture looks like he's wearing blackface. I don't know about the rest of you all, but I am so fucking sick of racist monkeys. Until this country gets a hold of its racist monkey problem, we're never going to make progress. And the fact that this fucking monkey is wearing that blackface just so defiantly in that photo makes me a little upset. In fact, it makes me so upset I don't even care how he lost that finger he's missing there. Whatever happened, I think he probably deserved it. So that I felt like I had to address. I just couldn't let a racist monkey picture be in this without saying something. But with that addressed, I'm going to say, love the setup here for Miguel's got. His fashion sense is a little bit crazy. I like most of it though. But love his gun, love what he's carrying, how he's carrying it, and I like the fact that he's carrying. So there's our viewer EDC of the day, Miguel T with his Glock 19. All right, everybody, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you come back again tomorrow. Until then, I'm just going to sign off as usual by saying, as far as the state of the world today is concerned, it is what it is. It could be better, but it could sure as heck be a lot worse because it's better than it used to be. I hate to break it to people. It is. And what things will be in the future if we continue to ignore the profit mongers, the fear mongers, the people that want to manipulate us and control us, and we continue to fight right with level heads, what things will be in the future, as I've already said, is better.